Hello, welcome. It is Saturday afternoon. Abdallah is here from Egypt. How are you? I have a message in the chat before we even start. I love it. I've missed your live streams. I'm really excited for today's. How are you? I'm doing well. How are you doing? I feel like last weekend was a month ago. I can't believe it was a week ago. I had a very busy week. And I've been rushing around a little bit today too. So it feels good to sit down and think about what we're going to work on today. Yeah, let's pull up what we have here. Well, let's get live server going. I do have a very specific goal for today, which is really to do the search and the navigation. Oh, and of course I don't have Photoshop pulled up here. Let's see, home. Here's our mock-up. Here we go. Yeah, I think, hang on, I think there are other mock-ups though. So they gave us an example. There's lots of mock-ups in this Delta, and I do like this. Let's see if we can get this done today. So I'm sort of thinking, here's what I'm thinking for finishing this, because next weekend on Saturday, which is the 19th, is next Saturday the 19th? Yes, next Saturday the 19th. I will not be streaming that day because I have something planned. I will be here on the 20th. So I suspect, and also just knowing myself and knowing that everything takes me longer to get done than I plan on, I suspect we're going to be working on this today, tomorrow, and the 20th. And then the next project we start will be the 26th. And I definitely want to start that product page from Frontend Mentors, I think is the website. Yeah, that's kind of my plan. Let's see what we can get done today with the search and the navigation. And if we can work on the filtering tomorrow, that would be great. My plan this week was to build a JSON file, just build like a little homemade API JSON file for this, and I just didn't get to it. I had a really busy week, and that's just how it goes sometimes. So yeah, so let's just work on it. For sure, the next thing that we're gonna do is the front-end mentors product page. Let's just go look at that and remind ourselves what that even is. The product list with cart. Yeah, we can definitely do this. I just want to make sure I get this done first. And I think the thing that I've learned about myself. Oh, there's Bailey. Hey everyone, I've been waiting all week for the stream. I'm so excited. We're excited to have you, Bailey. I honestly thought about you two a lot this week, and I was just so touched that anybody at all would show up and watch this, let alone two people who want to show up and be engaged. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing that. That is exactly why I decided to start doing this. In general, streaming has just added a lot of, it's been a really healthy, positive change in my life over the last couple of months. So to have other people joining and watching and participating it really means a lot to me. So I appreciate you both a lot. And Bailey, I don't know when you joined, I was just telling Abdallah that my plan, how do my calendar? My plan, because I will not be streaming next weekend on Saturday the 19th, I think it's going to take us today, tomorrow, and the 20th to finish what we're currently doing on this Delta, because I really want to make sure that I'm doing the filtering, which is going to be some JavaScript, and I need outside of streaming, I'm going to work on the like a little API, basically a little static API or JSON file for this type of content. And I really want to get that right. And I think, knowing myself, that it's going to probably take today and tomorrow to do the slide out navigation and search input. I also want to stick to an hour and a half because it's starting to get dark early and I have some errands to run tonight. So I need to get out and get that done. Move my microphone a little bit closer. I need to get out and get that done, so I can't stream for 2.5 hours like I have a couple of times. So anyways, so yeah, that's the plan. And then I have an idea for this arrow, because I was like, what is that arrow for? I literally don't know. So let me pull up, here's the search mock-up. They don't really tell us what that's for. So I was going to do another drawer, slide out drawer on the left, and have it be like a little about me page, because ultimately I want this, what I'm doing right here, to be a start of a new website for me personally, because my personal website is really old. I haven't done any, it's like 10 years old. I haven't done anything to it in years. It's just sitting there. I desperately need to redo it, and this is what I want to do. And the whole point of this grid is that it would be a portfolio of these mini projects that we do in the streams. So it's not going to be like a big hairy website. It's going to be something where I could expand it and it could grow over time, which is what I think a website should be. And I'm going to make this arrow be like an about page. So it's not going to be obvious as a user experience. It's not going to be obvious. It's just going to be like a little almost Easter egg, where if you're like, well, what's that? And you click it, you're going to see something slide out and it will be a picture of me and a little bit about me. And that's it. So I think that that's clever. It seems clever. And guess what? It's my website, so I can do whatever I want. That's the beauty of this. So if you guys need to get yourself into a mindset of like getting started and what should I do and how do I get started, this is such a good approach, because nobody can tell you no. You can do anything you want and you just need to go for it. And even me, 11 years into my career, I still need these opportunities where people aren't looking over my shoulder saying, no, I don't like that button. Change the text. I don't like the layout. Change it to 10 pixels, because that happens to me all the time and I get really sick of it. Okay, so Bailey has a couple comments. She says, heck yes, you bring such great content, so we are excited to hang out with you. Also, it sounds like it is going to be a busy weekend. It is. She says, that sounds fantastic. Plus, you're putting all this work into these projects. Might as well show them off. Absolutely. Because I, even with a lot of experience, am in the same position that like a junior developer is in. I'm not actively looking for a job, but I do occasionally take calls from recruiters, because you should always be open to other opportunities. And they're always saying, well, like, what are you doing outside of work? Is there anything that you're doing that you can show us? And my answer right now is no. I don't do anything outside of work. And I wanted to change that. I wanted to show prospective clients and employers that, yes, I am still practicing outside of work. I still feel creative and excited and motivated outside of work. And I think that's important. Okay. My final aside before we get started is this. Here's one of the reasons I was thinking about you guys this week. Excuse me, I have allergies, so my nose runs all the time. Bailey, you had asked me the question, was it last weekend, about like tips for a junior developer, and I feel like I hopefully told you something that was, coherent and somewhat articulate, but I've been thinking a lot about that. Being able to answer that question, and something that I want to start doing on my channel is recording videos, just sharing my experiences and sharing the feedback that I've gotten from clients and employers and the things that I've learned as a developer. And I just feel like I have a lot of knowledge that I would love to pass on to some other people. So, and here's what I don't want to do is I don't really want to be a channel that like records tutorials. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just am not into that. I would rather live stream and code. So my point is that Bailey, I'm going to start recording content like normal kind of talking head content. And the first question I'm going to answer is my advice for a junior developer and the things that you could do to get started and stand out when you're applying for jobs. So you can look forward to that sometime in the next week. I'm actively working on that. I'm writing a script and I'm probably going to record it here in the next day or so. So just wanted to let you know that you inspired me. And yeah, Abdallah and Bailey, I'm excited to have you here. So, okay, Angela, time to work. So let's go ahead and do the search input first. We just want to, let's just make it look exactly like this. It's not going to have this navigation. When the drawer opens, it's going to have a search input, and we're going to have a little X to close it. And yeah, we'll make it dark. We'll make it this dark blackish gray. So let's go ahead and put that, and let's get our SAS watch going. No, doc. Okay, where do we want to put this? So I'm going to put it, so we have a div for the buttons, search, and menu. I'm going to put this search drawer directly beneath this button icon, and we're going to do the same thing for the menu. So let's go ahead and we'll just do, I guess we can do, I'm going to do a div, and then we're going to do a form. And it's not going to be a working form. It's just going to be a form. And we're going to need a label for search, and we'll say search, and we're going to want to hide this. So we'll give this a class of, I think we called it access hidden. And then this can just be an input. Nope. Type search, and we want placeholder search. So you know me says do code of RCES. I'm not sure what that is. Bailey says, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Your knowledge is so valuable and could really benefit those of us who are just getting into it. I took your advice from last week as well and really started just building things to practice. Good. I started with a simple auth flow, and now I have moved on to recreating my favorite company's website. Bailey, that is an excellent approach. Even if you just, I do that all the time. Like, there are websites out there that I love where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to build that navigation and see how that works and see how I can make that work. Or if you go to Pinterest and you search for like web design inspiration or user interfaces, you'll get a ton of different things. We should do a style guide sometime. I would love to show that. I used to do that all the time when I was doing more client work. Just building style guides is very inspiring. I think that is such a good approach. Or just search for like free Photoshop mock-ups of user interfaces, or if you have a little extra cash, you don't mind buying some, you could go on to like Where did I got mine on Theme Forest, but there's lots of places that you can buy Photoshop mockups and just build them and practice. That's exactly what you should be doing. So I'm really happy you're doing that. Yeah, we could definitely do a style guide. So let's do the product cart. That was Abdallah's request, and I definitely want to do that. Let's do the product cart first, and then we'll do a style guide after we're done with the product cart. I love it. I love it. Style guides are super, super fun. And they'll help you really like flex your design skills. I say all the time, I am not a designer, but I do think that I have an eye for design, or I try to at least, and style guides are an excellent way to build those skills. Yeah. Okay, so here's our search. We need to give this an ID of search. Do we need, they don't really have like a little, I am going to put a button here. I think visually it's important to have a button. So let's go ahead and do, let's find our SVGs. And we're going to do aria hidden true. And this is also, let me see here. Let me think about this. I'm going to look at my GitHub because I'm not super interested in reinventing this wheel. We are definitely going to borrow heavily from the first layout that we did. So here's our buttons, aria labeled by menu icon. So we did put the SVG inside the button. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Okay. And I'm just going to call this icon button. And we're going to give this a span with a class, nope, of access hidden. But, hang on here, it also needs to have an ID and the aria labeled by. So we'll go ID, search icon, and then this will be aria labeled by search icon. Oh, what else do we, I think we have to put an aria label on the button, so the form, or we could just take the button and put it outside the form. I think that's easiest. Yeah, because oh no, or do we want it to be inside the form? Hang on. No, we do want it to be inside the form. Because we want when people click the button to submit the form. I'm going to ask ChatGPT if they have any accessibility or functionality tips that they want to give us. Let's see here. Does this markup for a search form look correct? Your markup looks mostly correct, but there are a few small improvements you can make for better accessibility and semantics. The for attribute and label should match the ID. Didn't I do that? I thought I did that. The aria labeled by on the SVG references an element that has an ID, but in this case, using aria hidden true on the SVG should make it unnecessary. You can remove the aria labeled by search icon since the SVG is already marked as hidden. Okay. Probably because it's inside a button, I'm guessing. The use of access hidden class for your hidden labels is good for screen reader accessibility, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so removed the aria labeled by search icon since the SVG, okay, that makes sense. Verified, okay, so really all it did was take out the aria labeled true. I'll just do this. Abdallah says, I am on fire. I hope that that's just a figure of speech and that you're not really on fire. I think that's just a figure of speech. You're funny. Okay. And then this is going to be, I'm going to do class search drawer. And then I'm going to do active, the thing that is going to open and close the drawer is going to be the active class. And really the active class is literally just going to add a property right. It'll be like right negative 100% or right 100%, I think is what will work. But active is going to be the thing that keeps this open, so that will be the event handler, the JavaScript event handler to add that class. So we have our drawer, we have our form. I think the form should also have a class. We'll give it a class of form. And I think inner wrap. It'll also, we should also do an inner wrap. So product list with cart, I think, so I'm going to try and do it next weekend on Sunday. If we finish this by Sunday, because I'm only going to be streaming one day next weekend, if we need next Sunday to finish this delta filter that we're doing, then I will start the product cart the following weekend, which I think is Saturday the 26th. But no matter what, it will be the next thing we start building. It is in the queue. That is exactly what we're going to start doing next. So hopefully that's okay. I just want to make sure that we have time to really finish this. And I kind of know myself, and I know that I talk a lot sometimes, and sometimes things just take longer. So I'm trying to give myself a little bit of space to finish things without feeling too rushed. So yeah, I hope that's okay. Okay, let's see here. So I'm going to, we don't have that much going on in the header, so we can put the form here. So we'll just do search drawer. We're going to say position fixed, which means that we need, what's the parent? Menu items is the parent. Inner wrap is the grandparent. Header is the great grandparent. We don't really, we just need position relative somewhere. I think header. Let's do position relative on header. Doesn't have to be the parent container. It can be anything. So we'll do position relative, right 0, top 0. We'll do width 100%. I'm going to do height 100 VH, which is just like the viewable height. The background color is going to be, whoops. The background color is going to be black, and the text color should be white. Let's see how crazy this looks. Yeah, that looks about right. Looks about what I expected. So, let's get our transition in here. So we'll do transition. It's going to be transition right. Oops. We'll do 300 milliseconds, and we'll do ease in out. And we'll do and active. Oh, and I think, Abdallah, you asked me to do it with vanilla CSS. Am I remembering that correctly? So yeah, we can do that too, vanilla CSS. So the default would be negative 100%, and then the active class would be right 0. So here, let's take off the active, and we'll check this in the browser. So if we put active, just like that. How about that? CSS is magical, I'm telling you. So now, yeah, this might go faster than I thought. So now we just need to style that form. Let's grab our X icon. Is it just close? Yes. Oh, stop. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to put active back in here so it's open by default. And so we definitely don't, oh no, that's our button. So let's see here. So here's our form, which is pretty big. So let's get this down. We need to get this down on the page. So we'll do form, search drawer, and we'll say Well, I think inner wrap already has, yep, already has some flex positioning. So we could, um, I think we could change the, okay, align items and align content. Hang on. CSS tricks, guide to flexbox. Remind me the difference between align items and align content. So here's align items. Here's align content. Okay. This aligns a flex container's lines within where there is extra space in the cross axis, similar to how justify content aligns individual items within the main axis. Okay, so let's do align items center. So we're going to change align items just for this particular form. I think we're going to have to do form dot inner wrap for specificity. Align items center, and I think that'll push it down for us. No. Why not? No, that doesn't make sense. It's on the parent. I'm not sure why it's not. You know what? That's okay. Let's do this. I'm going to do let's do transform translate y 50%. Why aren't you moving down? Okay, so we have X and we have Y. Why aren't you moving down? I have flex flow, row wrap, display flex. That's hidden. Here's our input. Here's our button. Those are behaving the way I expect them to. Oh, okay. It's 150% of the container. That's why. Not the window. I have to think maybe I just have to use some margin. I don't know why this is. We'll just use some margin. But why it should, why isn't align items working? I mean, the drawer itself is fixed. So if we put align items on the form, oh, probably because the height of the container? How much do you want to bet we have to say something like height 100%? Yes. Okay, good. That's what I wanted. So it's the center of the container, and if the container is only as big as the elements, then it's centered within the container. So once we say container be as tall as the parent, which is this search drawer, then you can center it. Visibly, you see the change, centering it inside of its container. Got it. Okay. So now we need to make sure let me think about this. So I think I'm going to put another div around the label, the input, and the button, because I want to absolutely position this button over top of the input. So we'll go ahead and do input, container, search drawer. I'm going to take this off. Position. Position relative. And then let's just work on this input. We want the width to be, so our label, our input, and our button So our inner wrap was display flex, which means that our label, input, and button are no longer being controlled by display flex. It's the input container, which is, we'll just do with 100%, just to be on the safe side. But that is now the child property of display flex for the inner wrap. So label, which is access hidden, we don't have to worry about, but input and button are kind of loosey-goosey. So I want the input to be the full width of the container and also be and also input container is going to be position relative, so I can absolutely position the button over top of the input. It's going to make sense in a second. And then we'll do icon. I'm going to give this another class, icon button and search button. This will be position absolute, top 0, right 0. So let's see how this is looking. Almost. Oh, I spelled it wrong, of course. Position relative, input with 100%, and then our button is, oh, hang on here. Did I not save this? I did not. There we go. That's what I wanted. Perfect. So now let's, I think we can make sure, here's our input. So we'll say, we'll give it a lot of padding. We'll give it like 2 rems of padding. Font size, that's pretty big. We'll go with 2 rems for now. Background, hang on here, we'll do background color. Black. I think we'll have to change the text color for the placeholder text, which I haven't done in a while, so we'll have to ask ChatGPT for help with that. But it's not difficult, I just don't remember what they are. And then we'll say, well, we definitely want to do appearance none. And then we're going to say border none, but then we're going to say border bottom, and we'll do 2 pixels solid white. We'll see how that's, yeah, that's starting to look pretty good. I think let's do 1 rem of padding. And I'm thinking we'll do 1 rem on the top and bottom and 0 on the left and right. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And I like having the outline. I'm good with that. Maybe we should just do like 0.5% on the left, or 0.5 rems on the left and right. So it's got a little squish. Yeah, that looks good. Because I do want this, of course, to be accessible. So, and I actually think, no, let's change the text for the search. So, what is the CSS to change the placeholder color of an input? Oh yeah, that's different. It used to be to change the placeholder color of an input, you can use the placeholder pseudo element in your CSS. You can also target specific input types. I am very suspicious, ChatGPT, that that's correct, but let's try it. Okay. But I haven't done it in a while, so maybe there's better support for it. It worked. All right. Let's make sure that this is styled. Okay. And we can just use the class Ionicon, and we'll say, well, we want this to also be appearance none because it's a button. Appearance none. Background none. Border none. But we want it to be how big is our input is 69.8 pixels tall. Let's just do if we just do width 70 pixels, height 100%. Yes, it's so nice when things just work the way I want them to. Okay, so we'll do width 70 pixels, height 100%. Perfect. And then I'm just going to take this out. This is the stroke. We'll do stroke white. Display block. I don't know if that's going to work. We'll see. Wow, this is actually working. Okay. Why didn't the stroke? Oh, it's the stroke path. Okay, so let's just, yeah, we'll just put it in here. That's fine. Oh, it still doesn't work. Did I not save? No. Nice. It's pretty big, isn't it? Let's do like 85%. Let's do auto. Let's see, I think we do like margin 0, auto, that moves it over a little. I think so. Yeah, it centers it. Yeah, that works. I like it. Let's give this a little letter spacing. Letter spacing 1 pixel. Did that do anything? I think so. Yeah, I like it. Okay. So now we need to put our close icon up here. Yeah. So if you came here and opened and you tabbed, uh-oh. Yeah, we'll have to make sure that our, so something that we'll do that we didn't do on the Soho, I don't think we did it on the Soho template, is we'll make sure that on the click event when you open the search drawer, automatically gives the input focus. So you could just start typing and the user wouldn't have to come and like click their cursor in the input. Yeah, that's a good plan. Okay. So now let's get our X up here. And that I am going to put outside of the form element. So that would be another button. And we'll do let's share some of these. Icon button. Because we know these are going to have, every button is going to have these things. So let's just see if we can be a little more efficient. Honestly, one of the best user experiences, or are you talking about the like automatically having a focus state when you're opening up a search? I think that's what you mean. Icon button, and then we'll say search close. And we'll do a span, the class of access hidden, and we'll say close search close outline. Yes. Yeah, it's super annoying to open up a search drawer and it's like you can't just start typing. You should be able to start typing. So I'm thinking, so Yeah, if we're going to make sure that the input gets focus, the next thing that will get focus would be the button to actually submit your search query. And then the thing I want to get focused next is that close button. So you wouldn't want to put it before the form. You'd want it to be immediately after the form. Yeah. It doesn't really, though. I'm thinking about that dialogue that we did. Was it last weekend? Where the dialogue element trapped the focus. So if you were tabbing, all of your tabbing stayed inside of that dialogue element. And ChatGPT explained it as trapping the focus. Did we test that on that Soho? I'm just curious. Oh, the other thing I was thinking we could do on this was put in a skip nav. Okay, so here you are in... Yeah, it doesn't trap the focus. So I'm tabbing, and all of my tabbing is happening outside of this search drawer. Yeah, interesting. There, see, now it comes back. Did not think of that when I was working on this. Okay, so how do I trap the focus inside of an element like a search drawer Let's see if it has any idea what I'm talking about. Okay. To trap focus inside an element like a search drawer, you can use JavaScript to manage focus trapping when the drawer is open. The basic idea is to listen for the tab key and ensure that when focus reaches the last focusable element, it cycles back to the first focusable element and vice versa. Here's how you can do it. Get all the focusable elements inside the drawer. Add event listeners for the key down event to handle tab key presses. Trap the focus so that if the user reaches the last focusable element and presses tab, focus goes back to the first focusable element, and if they shift tab on the first element, focus goes to the last element. Yeah. If the drawer is hidden by default, ensure that when it is visible, the focus should be moved to the drawer. Okay, let's look at this JavaScript. Trap focus. Focusable elements, query selector all. Okay. First element, last element, add event listener key down. If const is tab pressed is the event key, if that equals the tab, or the event key code 9. If the tab is not pressed, return. Okay. Yeah, this feels like something we should definitely try to figure out. because there's going to be like 3 things to focus on inside of this search drawer. And if when you land, so let's say you open the drawer, the input automatically gets focus. So let's just say the input automatically gets focus, and then you can type to the next thing and then tab to the button, which you can see it down here in the very bottom corner. But then if you tab again, it's now tabbing outside of this drawer on the document that we don't see. So we can tab, 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 and we just have to wait to get it back in, to tab through all that stuff. Oh, and it's actually tabbing inside of this. There we go. Yeah, so we should, yeah, okay. That's a good consideration. I hadn't thought of that before. So, see, this is why I started doing these live streams, because this is stuff that incredibly has not come up in my job doing front-end development and is now coming up in these projects. And that's good. That this is what I was hoping to get out of this experience, just by sitting and practicing, because my brain thinks about things. I used to do this all the time in the beginning of my career. This is how I learned. I didn't think about stuff like this though, because I just have so much more experience. So this is good. Okay, so we're gonna do this thing called trapping focus when we do the event listener. So let's finish styling this button and then get over and style the menu drawer. Let's see here. Where are you? Here's this button. So this is position fixed. So if I do position absolute, it should be absolutely positioned relative to the search drawer, I think. This right here. This is the button. There we go. Okay. And that is search close. So I want this to be position absolute, and I'm going to say top 0, right 0, and let's just, and then it's probably going to need some Z index. We'll do like 3. Are you up there? Yes, you are. Perfect. Let's see here. Stroke, we'll do white. And we'll move it down and over a little bit. So we'll say top 1 rem. I'm going to say right 2 rems, and we'll say display block. Well, it's a button, so it's already display block, right? Let's just say We'll say width 50 pixels by 50 pixels because we know it needs to be minimum 48 as a tap target. And then we'll say Ionicon display block. We'll say width 100%, height auto. Perfect. I love it. Yeah. So 50 by 50. Tap target needs to be 48 by 48. Looks great. I love it. Okay, so search drawer is done. And I'm going to take the active class off. Beautiful. I love it. See, this is why I do front-end development. It's that dopamine hit, the instant gratification of seeing something in the browser. I just love it so much. It never gets old. So, yay, we'll do, yeah, I have a feeling tomorrow we're going to be working on JavaScript to open and close this navigation, and I want to do this event trapping. I really, really want to do this event or focus trapping. I think that's a good idea to think about that and to get that right. I might go back once we figure that out here on Delta. I might go back and update the Soho. Yeah, it would be good to go back and update the Soho. It would also be good to go back and update this. So we're doing a skip nav. That's the other thing I think would be good for this. So if you were on mobile and you were, let's say you're on mobile and you're tabbing, hang on. If you're on mobile and you're tabbing, if you don't want to go into the navigation, you don't have to, but as it is, if you're tabbing, I'm just tabbing now, I'm just tabbing all the way through. So we should definitely do a skip nav. Yeah. So we could do a skip nav, and then we could do the focus trapping on Delta. We could apply it to this also. That would be a good idea. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So, okay. Menu is next. So here is our search, and then here is the navigation. So let's put a nav element underneath that button right here. We'll say nav class navigation, and I usually do just an unordered list, and I'll say class menu items. And where is our home, about, services, works, digest, contact? I'm just gonna do, we'll do home, portfolio, blog, contact. And then I think we need, I'm just going to put my name, like, we'll just do a div, and I'll give it a class of primary heading just for styling purposes, and I'll just put my name as the title. And then I think we need some social media. So this is Twitter, Facebook, and Behance. Let's do GitHub, LinkedIn, and Instagram, I guess. Yeah. Another div, we'll call this class social icons. And I'm going to do another unordered list. Do I need a div if I'm just going to use a UL? Yeah, I'm going to use another div. So I'll give this a class of social items. Do an LI. And this will be wrapped in an anchor tag. But we also need a span with a class of access hidden, and we'll call this, we'll do GitHub first, and then we'll put in our SVG. That's not what I wanted. This can be LinkedIn. Hang on, Instagram? Yeah. Oops. No, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So our navigation is going to be the drawer. So let's call this navigation drawer. I think that's okay. And I'm going to, we'll put active on this. Whoops. We'll go ahead and put active on this by default, just to get it working. So we'll say navigation drawer. Let's see. I don't think I did anything special up there. No. And then we'll also have to make sure that if the navigation drawer is open and somebody also opens up the search drawer, then we have to decide which is going to be on top. I think the search drawer should be on top because it's going to be bigger than the navigation drawer. So yeah, because it takes up the full width of the screen. So this is also going to be position fixed, and we'll say top 0, right, right 0, width, we'll do 300 pixels to start. Height would be 100 VH, the full vertical height of the viewing screen. We want the background color, whoops, the background color to be black and the text color to be white. And it's gonna look crazy. Let's see here. And then we want and active. So this would actually be negative 100%. And this would be right 0. Yeah. I think it could be a little wider. Yeah, it should be, I think it should be, well, this is a big screen. I'm on a big monitor. This is 27-inch monitor. Well, it's not always going to cover up those icons, is it? So when we do our event listener to open and close this navigation drawer, we have to make sure, because if this is a 27-inch monitor, so if somebody's looking on this, looking at this on a big screen, unless we tell it to always be 50% of the screen in order to cover these, I think it would be okay to just make sure that if this is open, you can either hit the X to close this from within this drawer, or you can click this to close it. So the toggle is just going to have to be on either one of those. The JavaScript just has to account for that, because this just isn't wide enough. But I do think this could be a little bit wider. So let's do, it's 300. What is that? Like 400 pixels about? Yeah, I think that looks good. I like that. And then this also needs to have that X to close. So do we need it? So here's what I'm thinking about that X. It's basically in the same place for the search drawer. Is there a way that we can use that X for the navigation drawer and the search drawer and not have to have it literally in both places? So the click events would be the, hang on, back to the browser. So the click events are going to be the search icon, the navigation icon, and then an X. And depending on what's open, but what if you have both open? How could I have one button that closes both the search and the navigation? I don't think that I can, unless it would literally close both. It would be something that would remove every active class. I mean, does that make sense? So if you had the navigation open and the search open, and we say the search takes precedence, right? So the search is, if that's open, it's always going to be on top, even if you already had the navigation open. So if both are open and you click the X, that X removes both active classes and closes both drawers. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm gonna have to do it to see if it makes sense. Like, I'm actually gonna have to implement it and click those buttons to see if it makes sense. I'm trying to think of, because on that Soho layout, we had them on the opposite side, right? So here's the navigation, and you could just click the same button to close it. But if both were open, the search always got the top level, the top layer. You're coding along with me. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Thank you for telling me that. I mean, it makes sense to me too. It's one of those things that I think we're just going to have to do. And it's not really going to make sense until I implement it and I'm clicking. Because here's the thing, everything can make sense, and then once you actually build it and click on something, you will figure out immediately if something does or doesn't work. If something feels awkward or like it's just not a normal user experience. It's just one of those things that you can only get a feel for if you're actually doing it, which is, again, I know I keep saying it, practice is so important. Practicing is so important because we have all been using the internet for how long at this point? 20 years, 25 years. We know what a normal user experience is, and until you are actually clicking these buttons, you will know. You will just know if it's the right way to do it. Okay. Where's that button? So here's the button right here. No, this is the menu open button. So here's the search close button, which is inside the search drawer. I might sleep on this. I might have to sleep on this. So yeah, this is definitely what we're going to be working on tomorrow, is getting down and figuring out. So Bailey's saying just the process, sometimes you have to experience it outside of what you think is going to do to tell if that's the way to go. That's exactly it, Bailey. You can have everything mapped out, all your requirements, but until you build it and click it, you will pretty much know instantly if it's the correct user experience, just from being somebody who's been using the internet. You'll know. Let's finish styling inside of this drawer. I'm going to sleep on this button thing, and I think tomorrow, this is definitely what we're going to be doing tomorrow, is we're going to be doing the event listeners to open and close the search drawer and the menu drawer, figuring out if we can use one button to close both things, and then also really paying attention to that focus trapping. I don't think focus trapping, I don't know if focus trapping is as big a deal in the this navigation drawer, because the rest of the page is exposed. But I think for sure the focus trapping inside that search drawer is going to be really important. So, okay, let's just go ahead and style this, and then the three of us, we're going to sleep on this close button overnight, and we're going to get all that implemented tomorrow. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So let's start at the top. Let's see here. Okay, primary heading. I thought that I had a class for headings. Primary header. That's why. There it is. Let's make this drawer a little bit bigger. There we go. And let's give this, so it's pretty well aligned with the header, which I think this looks like it's kind of aligned with the header. Yeah, actually it's perfect. Look at that. I love it. So let's go ahead and put, I think this has just the little faintest border underneath. So Bailey says, you know what I'm going to try to do tomorrow? I'm going to try to do that thing that streamers do where they can put their comments up on the screen. I'm going to do that too. I've been meaning to do that for like 2 weeks. So I want to do that. I'm going to try to do that before we start tomorrow too. But Bailey says, sounds like a plan. I find that when I finally take a break and lay down is when all of the solutions come rushing in. 100% agree. You have to give your brain rest in order for those ideas and that problem solving to like really percolate. You have to give your brain rest. So absolutely right. When you're working on stuff and you're just like not sure how to implement something, take a nap, get a good night's sleep, eat a good dinner, like eat a nutritious meal, drink some water, get some sleep, and you will be shocked when you look at something the next day with fresh eyes. The solutions sort of just present themselves. Okay, so let's get these menu items. Yeah, I'm not going to touch this. That looks great. I'm happy with that. It's, well, we'll see. It's a little squished up there, isn't it? Let's just get the rest of this styled. Okay. So we'll give the menu items, give it a little extra margin. Like, I'm going to give it 5 rems just to push it down a little bit. But I'm going to take out the padding. And then we'll remove the list style type. And then text align, center, and then these are all anchor links, so we'll give them a color of white, and I'm going to say, I'm going to say text decoration, none. We'll see how that looks. That had no impact. Let's see here. Menu, items, navigation drawer. Oh, navigation drawer. That's why. There we go. Let's give it a little more space. Well, technically it should have a tap target. Right now it's 26.4, so it needs like an extra, where's my calculator? 48 minus 26.4 is 21.6 divided by 2 is 10.8 pixels on the top and bottom. So let's just give this some padding of 1 rem all the way around. That should give us the tap target and the space that we need. Oh, why didn't that work? Oh, display, it needs to be display block. Beautiful. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a little bit roomy, isn't it? But it really does oh, that's okay. Yeah, I guess that does have a lot of space. You know what we should do? Instead of using margin, let's actually get this positioned. Let's get this centered in this container. Let's do that. So let's do, what's the best way to do this? Let's just brute force it. We'll do margin. I'm going to do 50% on the top, 0 on the left, and 0 on the left and right, 0 on the bottom. Let's see if that worked. Did that work? Did it? Hang on here. Is that 50%? I don't think so. So we're holding it open. See, I would expect this with 50%. So this is position fixed. I don't want to do any really aggressive positioning. But I wanted it to be a little more flexible. Stop doc. Yeah, it's not really. That is not flexible like I thought it was going to be. Okay, I'm gonna have to think about that. Why I don't know why I'm blanking on why that's not working. If this is height 100%. Okay, this is going to be, this I am going to push all the way down to the bottom with positioning. So those are the social icons. So this will be position, nope, that's not what I want. For this, I'm going to do position absolute. This will be, I'm going to do bottom 1 rem. We'll do right 50%, hang on, not 10%, 50%. And then I'll do transform, translate X, yeah, X minus 50%. That should put it right in the center. Yeah. And then we want social items. Navigation drawer. We're going to do margin 0, padding 0, because unordered and ordered lists by default have margin and padding. And then we'll say list style type none to remove the bullets. And then we'll do the LIs. Actually, we'll say, no, the LIs do need to be we'll just say display inline block, and we'll give these a little margin. So we'll say 0 on the top and bottom, but 0.5 on the left and right, just to give it a little space. And then the anchor tags, which are display inline by default, we're going to change the display to block. And I want the width to be 48 pixels by a height of 48 pixels, because we want that tap target. And whoops, and then we have our SVGs. Let's make sure that these don't have the color set. They don't. So I think we can just do, our SVGs could also be display. Whoops. Display block. We'll say width 100%, height 100%, and fill, whoops, the fill will be white. We'll see if that worked. Almost. Let's see here. Translate capital X. There we go. Other direction. Okay, so these, so the tab target is still going to be, we'll still make sure that this tab target is 48 by 48, but I think clearly these icons could be much smaller. So let's change the height to auto. And then let's, instead of 100%, let's do 50%. They're going to be bigger than, yeah, perfect. Love it. So they'll be, I think these are going to be maybe slightly bigger. And I think there's a border here too that I'm seeing. So we need a border here and here. And I think this is too big and it needs a little more room on top. So I am not going to worry about, where are we here? I'm not going to worry about this being a full 3 rems. I'm going to make it a little smaller. See, right now it's the same size as that header. I think it can be a little smaller. So let's call this, I'm going to call this the, are there any other special? Call this nav header. And I'm only going to change the font size in this one spot. Navigation drawer. Font size. I'm just going to do 2 rems. Yeah, I like that better. But let's give it some padding. So if we do a rem of padding, doesn't need to be exact. Yeah, I like that. And then we can put a border here. We can put the border there. Yeah, that works. So we'll just say border, oops, border bottom, and then do I have a nice light gray? So a gray that would go good with this black. Let's just try. So this is, the black is 222. So let's try like 555, something dark that hopefully has just enough contrast. Yeah, that works. I like that. But it spans, we want to, I want to change the width. I don't want it to span the entire container. So maybe if I put padding on it, will that bring it in a little bit? No, because it's still spanning the entire container. We could do, I guess we could just give this some margin. That works. I think their line is darker than mine, but I like there to have a little bit of contrast. So I'm good with that. So padding 1 rem on the top, 0 on the left and right, 2 rems on the bottom, and then 2 rems of margin all the way around to pull in that container so the line doesn't go all the way to the edge. Yeah. I'm just going to copy this so I don't forget. And then let's put our border right on top of these social icons, which I see now they're not really centered. Okay, so we can get these centered in their container. I think, well, it's display block. It would be nice to have those centered in their container. So one way to do that horizontally is with margin 0 auto. Oh, that would be not here. That would be on the SVG. So now those are centered. Sometimes you can adjust the line height, but we have these as display blocks, so I don't think line is going to work. Yeah, but if we change this to inline block, that might give us control over that line. Yep, did you see it shift? So with display inline block, I think we could just do, here we could just do text align center. Okay. And then if we did like, usually this works best with like a pixel value, but I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, I don't think that's working. What's the best way to deal with that? Okay, I'm gonna keep it display block. I know, I was thinking the same thing. I was just sitting here thinking, ugh, if I just use flex, I will have complete control. Here's the thing though. I will sit here and spend a bunch of time avoiding using flex and trying everything else when I could have just used flex. So this is just my process. This is just me being in denial about what I should use. So that means I have to do display flex on this href. Okay. fine. So let's do display flex. Then I guess we want to do justify content, center, align. Hang on. Justify content. No, I don't want to do float because that's like the old hacky way of doing things. I appreciate the suggestion. I think you're reacting to the fact that I'm too lazy to do flex and I just need to do flex. You're right. Your first instinct was right. So we're gonna do display flex, justify content, center, align items, center. And this will probably work. I don't know. We'll see. I think it will. Look at that. It's perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Abdallah, for just telling me to do it this way. Because you're absolutely right. And I mean, I was thinking of it, but yeah. And this was clearly extremely easy and very powerful. You're right. Done. So, all right. Well, so we have our work cut out for us tomorrow. So let's see this in action. Let's see this in action. Oh, we have to put the transition on. Let's see here. That's not what I wanted. Transition. Right. Oops. 300 milliseconds. Ease in, out. Look at that. Love it. Seems awfully quick, doesn't it? 300 milliseconds. I think because it's traveling a shorter distance, it seems faster. So I'm going to change this to 400 milliseconds. Yeah, it's a tiny bit slower. I love it. So tomorrow I want to, honestly, what we should do, well, there's menu items. There's the inner wrap. There's the header. So everything is positioned relative to the header, which is like this is the parent container. This is the grandparent container. This is like the great-grandparent container. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You just have to remember what all your positioning is relative to. The only thing that I don't love is how this menu items is, how this menu items is positioned on the page, which makes me think that we should make this navigation drawer flex with a flex direction of column. And then we would have complete control over this, and this to be perfectly aligned. Let's try that. And then we can remove, so we can keep this spacing, because this spacing doesn't really have anything to do with positioning. But this I'm pushing down with margin, and this I'm positioning with absolute positioning. So let's do flex direction column on the navigation drawer, and that'll give us so much more flexibility and actual positioning of those three elements in a column. Yes. So that means, so the navigation drawer, so let me take, so I'm going to take this out. And so we still have fixed position for the container, but I think we could still do a display property of flex. So we'll do display flex. The flex flow would be column. I'm going to say no wrap. And then we want to justify content space between. My prediction is that it'll put the top thing and the bottom thing. So the that header, that title, my name, and the icons at the very bottom, and perfectly center the navigation. I don't know. Let's see if I'm right. Okay, what happened? Let's see here. So here's our column. Oh, so this is stretching. Hang on, what's going on here? Okay. Primary, oh, because the primary header is a flex of 100%, that's why. So let's just change that. So if we change this to flex 0, 0, auto. So technically that works. We just have to take this margin off. Yes, okay. So this is good that we had. So we'll take this off. We'll do flex 0, 0, auto. We had unique styling there anyways. And then the menu items, we're going to say margin of 0. And then our social icons, I think we can still center these. Well, let me think about the best way to center those. Yeah. So I think this doesn't need margin on the bottom. That'll help. It still looks a little off balance. There we go. Yeah, no, I still wanted the margin on the left and right. So I'm going to do no margin on the top and bottom, but 2 rems of margin on the left and right to pull in that container. And then I'm going to do two rems of margin on the top and bottom, but none on the left and right, just like that. Yeah. So padding on the top and bottom, but margin, oh, you're in the wrong spot. But margin, 0 on the top and bottom, 2. All right, and now we just have to make sure that our social icons, and we can do that by saying, so these are display inline block, which means we can do text align center on the UL. which is right here. Yes, I love it. And we don't need this. I love it. This to me is the most flexible way to do this. It keeps it totally dynamic. So if we go to mobile view, okay, clearly this is going to need some work on mobile, but you can see here that when the container shrinks, the height shrinks, we still have that even distribution of these three things. So we definitely need to work on this, how it looks on mobile, which is completely fine. Probably if we just did, let's see here, if we just did a max width of 100, because right now it's 500 pixels, so I think all we have to do is max width 100%. Yeah, that's all we need to do is max width 100%. So, and this keeps it super flexible. I think we could give this a little bit. So do these still have a 48 by 48 tab target? But I think this UL could still have, like this div has some padding on the top and bottom. I think this the social icons could just have a little margin on the bottom to push it up a little bit. Let's see here. And some padding from the bottom, yeah. I think I'm going to do margin, not padding. But let's see here. So the social icons. Social items, which is the UL. We'll just give it like 1 rem of margin on the bottom. Perfect. It just pushes it up a little bit. I love it. This keeps it super, super flexible and dynamic. So if you add additional menu items, everything is evenly distributed along that y-axis on the column. So that's perfect. That's exactly what I want, is flexibility. So if I just move the window now and make this height, look at that. That's exactly what I want. Nice and flexible. And if you had a ton of menu items, you would want to make sure that if your list of menu items or your sub menu items was bigger than the height, that you were able to sort of put a cap on the height of your container so it could scroll. We did that in the Soho layout. I mean, I think, Abdullah, you were here for a lot of the Soho layout. You were here for a lot of the Soho layout, so I think you saw me spend like 4 live streams doing working on all that menu stuff, and I don't want to do that with this. But I do want this flexibility, and you're telling me you want to add something. Definitely tell me what it is that you want to add, and I'm happy to listen. Let's put, and then while you're typing that out, I'm going to put a border. I am going to put a border above the icons. Let's see here. So here's our social icons. For font size, okay. I'm listening, I'm reading, but I'm going to put this border on while you're typing. So I'm going to do the same thing to those social icons that I did for this nav header. You want to add a dynamic size. I'm listening. I'm all ears. Social icons. Perfect. So I did exactly the same thing down here that I did up here. I love it. I love it. It looks totally balanced. It looks evenly distributed. I love it. I'm very happy with this. Ooh, look at you with the font size clamp. Okay, hang on one second. I am familiar with this type of font sizing. I'm going to put that on the menu items. Okay. Let's see here. Font size. You can change the numbers or search about it. So actually, we started doing this at work where I work, but I haven't done too much of a deep dive into like what these things actually represent, other than I know that they're very dynamic, and that's obviously a good thing. So let's add this. So did you mean that the font, this would be the font size for the menu items or for all of the like text font? So let's see here. I do want to read a little bit more about this. Can you explain this font sizing? Menu items. Okay. So the clamp function in CSS is a convenient way to create responsive font sizes or other properties that adjust based on the viewport size while ensuring that the value stays within a defined minimum and maximum range. The syntax for clamps is clamp minimum, preferred size, maximum. Minimum, maximum, and preferred value. Here's what each part means. So the minimum value is 1.5. This is the smallest font size the element will be. It ensures that the font size will not go below 1.5 rems. Preferred value, 1.5 VW. This is the preferred or flexible font size based on the viewport width. VW stands for viewport width. So the font size scales dynamically depending on the width of the viewport, ensuring the font size grows or shrinks with the screen size. Maximum value, this is the largest the font size will get. Even if the viewport is wide, the font size will not exceed 2 rems, 32 pixels if the base font is 16 pixels. Well, I've definitely used VW before, so I think this is a great idea. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. So I want the minimum to be 1 rem. I want the maximum to be 1.25 rems, and I'm going to change this to just 1. Well, maybe I'll change this to 1.25. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Great suggestion. Great suggestion. Thank you for that. And you can try it for the title if you love it. Well, I do love it, so let's try it for the title. Let's see here. So let's do, okay, so my current font size, clamp, so my minimum would be I'm going to say 1.5 rems. My preferred would be 2 VW, but it shouldn't be bigger than 2 rems. So let's see how that looks. Oh, yeah, it could be a little, my minimum could be a little bigger, couldn't it? The details make your project amazing. Thank you. I think it could be a smidge bigger. So the minimum is 2. Let's do a maximum of 2.5. And then I'm going to say 2.5 VW. Honestly, I think we could do 3 VW because that is always a lot smaller than rems. Yeah, I like that because you can tell it's still a little bit smaller than this, but it scales really, really well. And this is iPhone SE, which is pretty small. So if we go to like an iPhone 14 Max, well, it looks about the same, but I love it. I love it. Thank you. You guys are awesome. You guys are the best. I'm so glad that you found me. I love having you. Nice work. Nice work. We did it. So let's go ahead and deploy this. Let's go ahead and deploy this. And I will get this pushed to Heroku. I don't have my Heroku open right now, but I will get it pushed to Heroku as soon as I'm done with the stream. Oh, and of course we did over 2 hours. Okay, well that's fine because I was having fun. I enjoyed it. Yes, this was amazing. I'm so happy. I'm always so happy when things go the way I want them to. With relatively little hassle. And I don't think that I ran into very many hassles today. I'm just really especially loving this. This makes me so, so happy. I think navigation always makes me happy. So tomorrow we are going to do our event listeners to open and close these drawers. We're going to figure out if we need 1 button or if we need 2 buttons to close the drawers. And we're going to do the focus trapping. And I know for sure that we need that focus trapping in the search drawer. I am not sure that we need focus trapping inside the navigation drawer. But let's just play with things and figure out. We'll figure it out once we start to implement things and we actually start tabbing what makes sense, what feels like the right thing to do. And then next weekend on Sunday, we will implement, I will write a JSON file this week. Let's see here. Can I take this out? I will write a JSON file this week. Take this out. So we have a more dynamic solution for data. And then on the 20th, our sole purpose is going to be to pull in these things with dynamic data and make it so we can write JavaScript that actually filters, that actually does some filtering. Yeah. And then we should also make sure that we're doing like a QA. We need to set aside some time to actually do a QA, review the responsiveness, make sure everything looks good on a mobile device. But I think we're pretty much taking care of our accessibility as we go. I'm feeling pretty good about our accessibility. So, yeah. All right. Um, this was fun as usual. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you guys so much. I love your support. Um, this is exactly what I hoped would happen. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you all again tomorrow. Um, Bailey, I haven't heard from you in a couple of minutes, so I'm for filtering. I think you should look for isotope. Well, for what it's worth, let's see here. Oh, isotope, filter and sort magical layouts. Huh. I was going to do so. Okay, I didn't. I've heard of isotope. Um, let's see here. What do they want the HTML to be? So they want everything to be in a grid. They want everything to be called a grid item. Okay, so it does the grid layout for you. What's the filtering though? Options set in HTML must be valid JSON. Keys need to be quoted. For example, item selector. Note the HTML attribute data isotope is set with single quotes. Okay, so you just have to have a data attribute in your HTML. Oh, so here's how you initialize your HTML. So data isotope, item selector, grid item, layout mode, fit rows, isotope in use. Oh, initialize in HTML. Options set. Learn more about how to use filtering right here. Okay. Oh, so the filter items are by class name. The simplest way to filter items is with selectors like classes. For example, each item element can have several identifying classes. Transition, metal, lanthanoid, alkali. Okay. Set a selector with the filter option. Items that match the selector will be shown. Items that do not match will be hidden. Huh. Interesting. I don't. It's okay. So this looks amazing. I have heard of this many years ago. I had heard of this. Um, I had already asked ChatGPT how to do this. Let's compare this to what I asked ChatGPT to do. Um, JavaScript table filter. I think this is something for work that I was working on. JavaScript toggle class. Well, I just want to compare it to, I'll ask ChatGPT again. Um, can you tell me a basic way to create a filter with HTML and vanilla JavaScript? Okay, I didn't do a good job of asking this question. Okay, you know what? Let's use Isotope. Let's do it because I'm going to build a JSON file and we're going to dynamically create these items using JavaScript. And what I was planning to do is this category was going to be part of the JSON object, right? So if we're dynamically putting that in here as a category, we can go ahead and add it as a selector. No, no, no. I mean, we can definitely do it. I'm here for the suggestions because I don't know how to do everything. You can do filter with set an attribute on the items and check it with JS. Yeah, I had already asked ChatGPT once about how to do this and it wasn't this. I didn't do a good job of asking this question. So I just have to go find it. And why don't I find it and we'll compare it tomorrow with Isotope? I'm telling you, Isotope would be very easy to implement as a library based on how I was already planning to build my JSON file to pull in dynamic data. Just by that, all it's going to be is a category. So if all we're doing is a grid with an element item, and an additional selector, it would just mean then that the category would just be the additional selector and we could pull in this library. If there is an attribute like item 1, do something, yeah. I mean, I'm down for it. Let's use Isotope. And then that's less work for us, right? Boom, done. We'll do it. I think it's a great idea. Thank you for letting me know. Because like I said, I don't know how to do all the things. So here's our selectors. And then set a selector with the filter option. Items that match the selector will be shown. Items that do not match will be hidden. So yeah, I think this is a great idea. So this is probably then what we're going to go ahead and implement on the 20th, Isotope. And then tomorrow we're going to get our event listeners to open and close those drawers, sort out that close button, and sort out the close button and deal with our focus trapping for the search drawer. So love it. Bailey, I haven't heard from you in a while, which is totally fine because you said you were coding along. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Hopefully you can join me again tomorrow. The adventure continues. Have a great rest of your day, okay? Bye.